Charlie, thank you. We're also wanting to give travelers a traffic alert update this morning about the John Nolan reconstruction. We do have a road closure that may be impacting your morning commute starting today. Another portion of South Broom Street is closed as part of the ongoing John Nolan Drive reconstruction. So South Broom Street is now closed between West Wilson Street and John Nolan Drive. The closure started at about 5 a.m. this morning, and a pedestrian walkway is available along Broom Street across John Nolan Drive to the Capital City Trail. South Broom Street will be closed until early June. North Shore Drive had been closed as part of this project, and that road fully reopened just yesterday.